Hello, Brian Weeks here again with another MMCD contract consideration. This video clip will cover the topic of the problem of putting specifications on drawings. This will be a short video because I've already discussed this issue as part of another contract consideration entitled Document Hierarchy Cautions. But I note this is a continuing situation, so I think it warrants its own video. Here's an example from my own experience. While this was not an MMCD contract, but rather for a house we had built, the principle is clearly illustrated. Despite the fact that the designer had written an inch-thick document with specifications and conditions, he felt it was required to put information for the builder on the construction drawings. My designer's approach is more common than not. There are a couple of reasons for doing this. First, professionals normally have their work reviewed before it is issued. By putting all the critical specifications and assumptions in one place, it makes it simple for the reviewer to determine if the design is compliant. The review can be more efficient as the reviewer does not have to read through volumes of contract documents. Second, by putting this information on the drawings, there's a better chance that those workers who will actually build the design will have this important information at hand. I'll talk later about the fallacy of this benefit later. So far, this seems to make it a sensible approach, but I'm here to point out that there are significant risks to this approach. The risk comes from the document hierarchy in our general conditions. MMCD General Condition 2.2.4 sets out the ranking of the documents in case there is contradictory information contained within them. As we'll see on the next slide, drawings rank below both standard specifications and supplementary specifications in the order of importance. This means that information in either of these two classes of specifications can overrule specifications written on drawings. I'm certain this is not what the designer intended nor wants. Here I've extracted the first part of GC 2.2.4 and highlighted the relevant lines. The drawings, in red, rank as level G. This means that everything between A and F can supersede their information. In particular, when a designer puts so-called specifications on a drawing, he or she runs the risk that standard or supplementary specifications will have contrary requirements which will take precedence. Now you might think that by labeling those pages of text as specifications on their drawings, you could avoid the problem. Unfortunately, it is not quite that simple legally. I'm sure you've seen that some specifications refer to others. For example, our specification for concrete reinforcement requires the steel to meet portions of CSA standard G30. This is called incorporation by reference. It's perfectly legal to do this. In fact, it's a best practice to avoid saying things that can simply be referenced. Since the original specification for concrete reinforcement was part of the contract, any document it references will become part of the contract as well. However, the important point to understand is that when a document becomes part of the contract in this manner, it comes in at the same level as the calling document. In our example here, CSA G30 is called in by a standard specification, so it ranks in the hierarchy as a standard specification, no higher and no lower. Here's just one example of what might happen. On a particular site, there was a soil condition which could reduce the expected longevity of the planned concrete pipe. Rather than specifying coated steel pipe, through a note on the drawing, the designer chose to specify that the concrete pipe be made with type 2 sulfate-resistant cement. This is not commonly available product, as type 1 normal Portland cement is almost always used, but it can be specially ordered. Obviously, this will incur a surcharge and almost certainly a time delay. However, the standard specification calls for type 1 cement to be used. A successful bidder who bid according to the standard specification would be correct because those specifications override anything on the drawings. Whether this happened inadvertently or not, once the problem is recognized on site, the contractor is entitled to be reimbursed for additional cost if the type 2 cement requirement is enforced. Okay, so how should we fix the problem? I'm going to show you 3 ways to do this. The first, and least preferred, is to alter the document hierarchy by writing a supplementary general condition replacing GC 2.2.4. Here, there are 2 submethods. One is to add an additional level. For example, above supplementary specifications, add a level called something like Specifications on Drawings. One of the obvious problems with this is that drawings change frequently and specifications are not expected to. This can cause claims. The second submethod is to just rearrange the document hierarchy by placing drawings above the supplementary specifications and specifications. Again, this can be done with a supplementary general condition. However, for the reasons such as the one I just mentioned, the MMCD Association has already considered and rejected this suggestion. We believe the current order is the best one for most contracts. There needs to be a really good reason to alter the hierarchy, which has proven successful over 23 construction seasons so far, particularly when there's a better way to solve this problem. For more detail on the document hierarchy and problems that incautious alterations can cause, have a look at my contract consideration video entitled Document Hierarchy Cautions. A better way to fix this problem is to reclassify certain drawings as specifications. To avoid the incorporation by reference problem I just discussed, this reclassification needs to be done via a supplementary specification, not a note on one or more drawings. A simple supplementary specification to do this might read as follows. In the case of any conflict of information or inconsistencies in the contract information provided, drawing XXX revision Y dated ZZZ is to be treated as a supplemental specification, not a drawing. For this to be successful, it's vital to ensure that the drawing or drawings being reclassified are clearly and uniquely defined. This means if a drawing containing such specifications is subsequently reissued with a different date or revision number, that drawing will not be treated as a supplementary specification the way its predecessor was. If the intent is to actually change a specification, then a new supplementary specification should be issued along with a change order authorizing it. If there are cost or time consequences resulting from this change, these will have to be addressed in the usual manner. The third and best way to solve this problem is to avoid its creation in the first place. So let's not put specifications on the drawings at all. Write those specifications initially as supplementary specifications where they belong. That way, they will automatically have the right ranking in the document hierarchy. Use as many supplemental specifications as is appropriate for best clarity. Other information on the drawings, which relates to design assumptions, load and safety factors, etc., can remain on the drawings as it does not provide information which the construction workers will use. For both the workers and the design reviewers, a note on the drawings should refer them to the appropriate supplementary specifications, which must be read in conjunction with the drawings. Obviously, this method requires coordination between the designer who creates the specifications and the tender author who assembles the contract document package. The main objection to this solution is that it supposedly defeats one of the benefits of setting specifications on the drawings, that of making them easily available to the workers. In one respect this is true, but in another it's also a bit dishonest. If we look at the supposed benefit, it's incomplete. While the text on the drawing may detail some of the requirements, it most often calls upon other specifications anyhow. For example, it may specify that the base gravel be compacted to standard Proctor density per ASTM D698. But the requirements of that ASTM specification are not detailed on the drawings, so workers would have to look for that elsewhere anyway. So for making specifications on the drawings incomplete, why have them there in the first place, with the inherent risk they'll be overruled by other portions of the contract? To summarize, 1. Any specifications written on drawings classify as drawings, not specifications, in the document hierarchy. 2. Supplementary and standard specifications both outrank information on drawings, hence they can inadvertently compromise the designer's intent. 3. The least preferred method to fix the problem is to alter the document hierarchy. 4. The second solution is to use a simple supplementary specification to carefully redefine certain drawing sheets as supplementary specifications for document hierarchy purposes. 5. The best solution is to avoid the problem by writing the information as proper supplementary specification, not notes on the drawings. Do put a note on the drawings to point to those supplementary specifications so as to ensure that users know they must be applied when using the drawings. I hope this has helped clarify this contract consideration. Please check our website for further assistance and to see what other topics are presented in this series. Thanks for watching.